Hi, I'm Carlos Dave of Domino Connection. I have Sean Ogle with me today, and I'm so excited because he works from all over the globe. He's based in Portland, and he's a connector at heart. Thanks for being here today.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me, man.
Sure, sure. So, yeah, tell us a little bit about how you got started in with your business in the online world, and then we'll start there.
Yeah, so about 4 years ago, I was a financial analyst in Portland, Oregon, and I kind of had this realization. I was like, what am I doing? When I graduated college, I had two goals for myself. I wanted to run my own business, and I wanted to travel the world. And a year, 2 years into that, I wasn't doing either of those things. So in February 2009, I'd saved up all my vacation time for the year. And my best friend and I, we took off for Brazil, went down to Rio de Janeiro for the Carnival celebration. It was on that trip, we did all the cool stuff you can think of: hang gliding, dancing in the parade. We went to Iguazu Falls. Like, it was awesome. And I was walking on Copacabana Beach, and I was like, man, I should be able to do this whenever I want. I don't want to be at the mercy of my boss, or I'm having to lie, making up excuses just to go to like the doctor to get my oil changed or things like that. And so when I got back from that trip, I started Location 180. And at the time, it was basically just a way to hold myself accountable for all the stuff I wanted to do in my life. I wasn't making any progress towards those goals. And so I basically said, all right, I'm going to write down everything I want to do in my life, and I'm going to post it on the internet and hopefully use that as accountability. And, now I've knocked off 30 or 40 items on that bucket list, which is still a big part of my website. And it's turned into a business from there.
That's great. And I like how you said, you just started something from where you felt you wanted to go. And then you just took people along that journey. And there's so many people out there that have this great knowledge in different areas. And just starting something small like a blog and posting once a month is just so powerful.
Well, for me, it was one of those things where I had no clue what I wanted to do. And I was like, if I don't start somewhere, if I don't start doing something, that I'm gonna, find myself 10 years down the road and be absolutely miserable. But one of the coolest things that surprised me was once I started writing about how clueless I was, I found out there was a lot of other people that were just as clueless as I was. And they're like, I think what you're doing is great. I've got the same problem. Let me know what you come up with, because I'm not sure what to do in my own life. Yeah. I think that was one of the coolest surprises, just how relatable I became. And I think that's one of the things that sets Location 180 apart from, some of the other bigger bloggers like Chris Guillebeau maybe, or Tim Ferriss, who all of a sudden they kind of appeared and it was like, oh, they're successful. And you don't necessarily see a lot of the backstory. Well, you can go into my archives at seanogle.com, and all of a sudden, like those first 6 months, you see how clueless I really was. Yeah. And I think a lot of people can kind of resonate with that. And so it adds an extra layer of relatability that you don't always get on the internet.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your personality. It's, a lot of people are introverted. A lot of people are like, I can't put myself out there. I can't sit in front of a camera, do a live interview. So tell us a little bit about, are you introvert, extrovert, and then how does that fit into your business?
So people are always surprised when I say this, but I'm totally a natural introvert. I've gotten a little bit better at it, just because of, things like this and doing what I've been doing for this long. But you put me in a big room of people that I don't know, and I will curl up into a ball and just hope somebody comes and talks to me. And once I'm in a conversation, I can talk, but, definitely introverted tendencies. And so, that's where the internet can really be a powerful thing, because if you are really introverted, then you don't have to necessarily go and do all those face-to-face things. You don't have to necessarily do video interviews like this. If you've got something interesting to say, you can do it all via email and blog posts and things like that, where you never have to talk to somebody face-to-face if you don't want to. But I think that the vast majority of people that are successful online, they get to the point where they realize how valuable those connections are, whether it's meeting people in person, whether it's having Skype calls like this, whether it's reaching out and, just having phone calls. I think that it tends to force you to open up a little bit, because you realize what it can do for your business. And also, once you start connecting with people that have similar values and similar goals as you, it's just really exciting to do. It's like all of a sudden, I used to tell people, it's like, what are the odds that you go down, you sit in a bar, and the person sitting next to you has all the same like hopes and dreams and goals as you? I mean, it's like 1 in a million. But when you get online, all these people that are coming to your website, or maybe websites you're going to and people you're getting in touch with, that there's that shared interest already. And I think that when you have that shared interest, it tends to make you a little more extroverted, even if you are a natural introvert.
And did you find that before you started 180, there were some people out there that, where those conversations were happening, and it maybe sparked your interest to start 180?
Yeah, it was like I had never heard of a blog when I got back from that trip to Brazil. And I somehow stumbled upon Chris Guillebeau's site. And it was the first blog I ever read. And I remember I was in my office on like a Friday afternoon and I read every single blog post that he wrote. And it was just like, man, this guy's living the life. Like, this is the kind of thing I want to do. And he had just moved to Portland, where I'm from. And so I sent him a blind email. I said, hey, any chance I could buy you a cup of coffee? I'm, starting to go through some changes in my life, and I think you might be able to help. And he agreed to it. And so that's when he was the one that initially said, maybe you should start a blog. He made a few recommendations for places to look. And so I followed up on that. And a month later, I said, okay, I did everything you said. I read these blogs. I started one of my own. Like, when we meet up again, I want to know like what to do next. And so, we met up every month or so during that year in 2009. And I knew that I had made it when it was February of 2010. We met up at a Starbucks in Bangkok. And so in less than a year, I'd made that transition from clueless, not sure what to do to my life to, quit my job, sold my car, started a business, and moved to Thailand, where I was for like 7 months as I built up my business online.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And it's inspirational because really, you have a lot of talents. I like what I like to call connecting superpowers. But everybody does, right? I mean, like you said, you might not want to do video, but you could write or you could do audio. There's so many ways to communicate and, bring out that passion that you have in whatever it is. And it's having fun with it, trying different things and seeing what works and what doesn't.
Oh, I mean, that's the biggest thing about all of this is just how much fun it is. Because all of a sudden, once you realize that you can do whatever you want. It's like, you don't know what's going to happen in the future. So it's like, why not try something outlandish? I mean, I just built a whole, business and website around my passion for golf. And I basically was like, I wonder if I can take some pretty photos and go play nice golf courses. And I wonder if they would, give me free rounds of golf to do this. And the answer turned out to be yes. You find these kind of win-win situations. And, that's been the coolest part is I just kind of keep trying things, and a few things work. A lot of things don't, but it's on your terms. I'm trying to do what I can to, make myself happy in life and help as many other people as I can, achieve a similar type of thing where it's basically, doing what they want via the power of entrepreneurship. Yeah. And, a business isn't necessarily what it was 20 years ago. Things have evolved. And so there's all sorts of things you can do because of the internet now that you just couldn't do before.
Yeah, I like to think it's like two circles that overlap. It's that midpoint where, like you said, like you have this passion for golf, and then these golf courses need help bringing exposure to them.
Yep.
And it's that middle point that says, you know what, like we can both help each other here.
Exactly. And as when I first started down that path, it just started with an email. It's like, I'm going to be in this area. There was a nice course. I sent them an email and they said, sure, why not? And as you start doing that more, you start figuring out more of what they want. And this is kind of with any business. I mean, the more you talk to people in a certain niche or industry, the more you figure out what their problems are, and you're able to brainstorm solutions for helping them. So I've been doing this about a year now. And so I've really been able to say, okay, I know, these golf courses in this area are having these issues, and these golf courses in this area are having this issue. And so, I can kind of tailor my response to them to make sure that what I bring to the table is most valuable for what they need.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. So, as you've been able to build up these different businesses and you've been able to extract fun as well as extract money from it, what have you struggled with in the fact that, where have you stumbled, and then, how did you overcome that?
The biggest struggle, and I'm doing this for almost 5 years now, is yourself. On so many levels. When you're working for yourself, you have to stay motivated. If you don't put in the work, then you're not going to make any money, that month. It's like you would kind of think that all of a sudden when you're working on your own, it's like you're going to have motivation, you're going to be working 16 hours a day, and you're just going to have all this energy to go and do it. But a lot of days you just aren't feeling it. It's like a lot of times it's like, I'd rather, sleep in, or I'd rather just, kind of sit here and watch TV or whatever it is. And so I think the biggest struggle has just been battling yourself and figuring out, how to let go of the 9-to-5 mindset. You don't have to work 9 to 5. That's kind of an arbitrary thing. And when I'm working on my own, I have to figure out what works for me. I wrote a blog post last summer that was called Why You Should Stop Working at Noon Every Day. And often my most productive days are the ones where I wake up pretty early and I know that I have to stop working at noon. I schedule something fun. Maybe it's a round of golf or something, or a coffee meeting at 1 o'clock. So I only have that much time, and then I have to go and do it. And by setting certain parameters and figuring out what works for me in terms of my own productivity, I've been able to start to kind of combat that a little bit. But the most important thing is giving yourself permission to not work. If you're struggling and you're not getting anything done, you can sit at your computer for 10 hours and beat yourself up and get really frustrated. Or I can say, okay, I'm going to take 4 hours off. I'm going to go do something fun. And when you come back, usually you're kind of refreshed. But, that's really been my biggest issue, is just battling myself and my own, struggles with, focus and energy and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. It makes me think about my own, in that I have two blogs, Work Happy Now and this one, Domino Connection. And what's interesting is whenever I hit that wall in one, I switch my focus, and then all of a sudden I get re-energized. It's just a different way of thinking and connecting with people. So,
totally.
Yeah. And do you have that? Do you have that, like, okay, I can't do this, I'll try this and see if I can get some motivation there?
Yeah, and I mean that's why it's like I've got probably half a dozen different businesses. I say I've got like entrepreneur's ADD in the worst way. I can only focus on any given thing for a short period of time, and I've got to move on to something else. And that's kind of why I developed all of these businesses. It's like I've got Location Rebel, which is kind of my main entrepreneurship course. And it's like, okay, I worked on that for a while. It's like, all right, I need to take a break. Well, now I'm going to work on the golf stuff, and that's fun. It's like I've also got a photography site. So it's like, okay, I'm going to go work on that. And so by building businesses around things that I'm interested in, it's almost like I need to shift gears, but it's not like you're doing work a lot of the time. It's stuff that I would just do anyway. Mm-hmm. And over time, the more success you have, the more you're able to invest in some of those, passion-based businesses, which might not necessarily pay off monetarily, but you would enjoy doing either way. And I've been lucky in the case that most of the businesses like that I've started have been pretty successful.
Yeah, yeah. So I asked this of all my interviewers, what's the secret to happiness?
Being selfish. I would say when I first started this journey, I was extremely selfish. So, I left my job, I moved to Thailand, I had a long-term girlfriend, and I said, I've got to do this for myself. Call it a quarter life crisis or whatever you will. But, I really regretted not studying abroad when I was in college. And I had set up a 2.5 month trip traveling all over Europe right after graduation. They got cut down to like 18 days because I had to go, back to my real job. And so I said, if I don't go travel now, I'm going to, end up getting married, settle down, have kids, and not, do any of the stuff I want to do. And so for a year or two, I really focused on my business. I put myself first. I put my education first. And that's what's paid off the most, because now I'm happy. And because I've gone through the selfish period, now I'm able to help so many other people because, I found happiness for myself, and I've also learned what I need to do to be able to help people achieve a similar goal. And so I think that, if you want to be happy and if you want to help other people reach their goals, there has to be that kind of selfish period of time where you focus on yourself.
Yeah. And even when you are married or you do have kids, you need to carve some selfish time out.
Yep. I mean, I think it's kind of one of those things it can never go away. You've always got to take care of yourself, because as soon as you stop taking care of yourself, then you're not going to be able to give everything you've got to whatever business it is, whatever you're doing to try and help others. And so, maybe it's not, spending 7 months and moving across the world to Thailand, but it could be, hey, I'm going to go golf this Saturday or whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, you need to recharge, right? And especially as introverts, I'm an extrovert, introvert, depending on, it's kind of like swings up and down. But I think how I need to recharge is I need to go exercise, get on my bike, meditate, yoga, and it's okay to do that stuff. It's okay to get out, and I try to travel, not for long, maybe once or twice a month, but I'll go do a speaking gig and when I come back, like, the family is just, it feels that much better because of that break, because of that selfishness.
Oh yeah, it's amazing how even like 2 days away can completely like renew your like passion and energy for, being around the people you love. Sometimes it's easy to just get bogged down in the routine and the day to day, but by constantly focusing on yourself from time to time, you're able to renew all of that.
And I think, not to, I guess, judge anybody, but I think a lot of times people drink alcohol or do drugs or whatever to get that escape but it ends up hurting them because it's not a true escape. It's not like taking that break. It's kind of like you kind of trying to find that escape without really actually doing it.
Exactly. It's kind of like usually if you do it right afterwards, you feel good and rejuvenated and energized. But, if you turn to alcohol and drugs, instead of, feeling that, you wake up the next morning feeling worse than when you started. Yeah. And that can be a slippery slope.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm curious, as you build up your fan base and really started to connect with them, what is one change you've made that has really allowed you to turn just regular visitors or viewers into fans, into people who are buyers and customers?
So the most important thing I've done, and I've been doing this for about 1.5 years, is when you sign up for my email list, instead of just saying, hey, here's all this stuff, you're going to get a bunch of emails that's selling you on something, the very first thing you get is an email from me that says, I want you to do me a favor. Hit reply right now and answer 2 questions. Tell me, 1, what you're struggling with, and 2, what your perfect day looks like. And so first off, people are surprised. They're like, wait, this is an autoresponder. Like, why do you want me to hit reply? I've never seen this before. Probably 25% of people will actually take the time and give me a response. So they're surprised. Then they write the answers to that. And a lot of times they're like, oh, wow, I've never thought about that. It feels good to write that stuff down. And then when they get a personal response from me, it's like, whoa, like I was totally not expecting this. And so it enables me to actually build relationships with people on my email list, where usually it's just a one-way street and you're, marketing and, spreading your message. All of a sudden it becomes a two-way street. So not only do I have a relationship, do I learn a little bit about these people? It's great for marketing. They're telling me what their problem is and they're telling me what their solution kind of looks like, so I can use that in developing products and marketing later on. But it builds trust. It shows that I'm a real person. It shows that I actually care about who they are. And so I think that's one thing that I've done that's, maybe set me apart from some other people, that's really allowed me to, build that fan base and build that audience and build that trust with them. Yeah.
Now, do you find that a lot of people don't do that because it's just extra work?
Yeah. You're always seeing people being like, here's how you cut down your email, or email isn't real work, or, you should ignore all of this stuff for a week and it'll just kind of go away. And, you can do all of those things, but it's also, if you take the time to reply, which takes a lot of my time, I spend a lot more time on email than some people might, it goes a really long way. And I attribute, a lot of my success and a lot of the relationships I've built to just kind of going that extra step. And I try and respond to every single person personally that gives me a thoughtful response to those questions. And sometimes it takes me a week or two. I'm still not the best at managing my time in my email, but I think it pays off. And I think there's a lot of people that they think they can automate it and set up systems, and to a point they can. There's a lot of people that can do that, but this is the way that's worked for me.
Yeah. This has been great. Your answers have been concise, and I guess I want to leave on what do you think would be, if someone wanted to create a business where they can do it with their passions, they can travel, they can do it in a way that makes them happy. How would they get started? What would they do?
So I've kind of got a 3-step process that I usually talk to people. And usually people start at step number 3, and that's why they fail. So step number 1 is I tell people, build a relevant skill set. Things like copywriting, basic SEO, how to use WordPress. Like, focus on all of those things, because those are all the skills that are going to be relevant no matter what you do online. Step number 2, take one of those skills and freelance it. You might not be doing the sexiest thing ever. It might not be your passion at that point, but it's going to allow you to build a basic amount of income, which gives you the confidence to either quit your job or, move on to step number 3, which is apply it to your own, bigger projects. So maybe that's, starting an e-commerce store, or your own blog, or your own info product, or whatever it is. And so, I kind of tell people to think of their, journey into location independence or passive income or whatever it is, in those 3 steps. And so I think the absolute best thing you can do to start that is buy a domain, get hosting, and install WordPress. Start writing. Every business online I've started has started with those 3 steps. And once you've kind of done it once, even if you don't know what you're going to write about, it's like, even if it's like, okay, I've got WordPress, now what do I do? Just start writing. It's one of those things, as you familiarize yourself with that, as you actually start writing, you're not only improving your skill set in that regard, but you're also starting to figure out what you like and what, you know, people resonate with and what you want to do. So even if that lasts 3 months and then you kind of get an idea for a new business and you move on to something else, you've got that experience, which is going to help kind of move you down that path in terms of getting to where you really want to be.
Yeah, I like that. That's perfect. It's a great way to end our interview here too. So if they want to find you, SeanOgle.com, SeanOgle.
Yep, you got it.
Okay. And it's Location 180, right? The title of the blog.
Location 180. So yeah, it's how to build a business you can run from anywhere. That's kind of the idea behind it.
And when they sign up for your email autoresponder, they will reply and they'll get an actual person replying back.
They will get an actual person replying back. So I'd love to hear from you.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It was fun to be here.